Hey, this is Dr. Trussell. Let's talk about Chapter 5, which is the first part of defining our program, understanding the program that we intend to evaluate. It's important to keep in mind as we are designing embedded evaluation that our goal here is to be responsive to change, to be able to design programs that are able to adapt. Which indeed is the purpose of evaluation, to determine if programs are helping people, including how much they're effective and for whom they are effective, and to help those who are administering the program to be able to respond to changes and adapt and make those programs more helpful, or nix them altogether if there is basically no hope for them. But just a reminder of the steps of the embedded evaluation. Here the steps are listed with each arrow, and the nodes or the large circles are the results of the arrows. So our steps are to define, then to plan, then to implement, to interpret, and to inform. And remember, this is a cyclical and ongoing process. It's not linear. It's not something that happens once and then we're done, especially when we're talking about embedded evaluations. We're talking about a process that's designed specifically to be cyclical, something that we do over and over and continue to evaluate and continue to implement changes and collect data to see how those changes did and to inform our continuous improvement. So when we're first starting out our evaluation, the first step is to be sure that you understand the program you're evaluating. Otherwise, you can't accurately evaluate something that you don't know or understand yourself. So how do we do that? A first place to always go is to look at previous evaluations of the same program, or of programs like it, or of programs within your organization, the same organization. Look at the previous evaluations. Look at existing program documentation. What already exists out there, such as strategic plans, training materials, meeting minutes, requirements from government, information that you have or that the organization has on this program that can make it useful to understand the context in which it's all being implemented. Of course, a lot of this is assuming you're coming in to evaluate an existing program. If you're starting a program from scratch and trying to evaluate it, then you just want to be sure that you're in conversations with those who are starting it so that you embed evaluation into the design of the program from the get-go. Speaking of conversations with those working with the program, another great way to understand your program, don't underestimate the value of a conversation, of picking up a phone. Writing an email is okay, but oftentimes you can find out so much by just going to visit, picking up a phone, conducting interviews or like focus group kind of deals, have meetings with program staff, learn from the people who have been around, talk to the people who have implemented the program. If you can, talk to some of the people who have been clients of the program or who have benefited from the program or taken part in it. And just your goal here is just to glean and to learn as much as possible about the program so that you go into the evaluation process as informed as possible about the context and goals of the program. You do want to document the program goals. A program goal is a general statement of what a program intends to accomplish, its desired results. You want to list overall goals. If you know the objectives, record them, but at this point of the process, that's not a requirement or necessary. Program planning, broad, long-term goal statements are sufficient. A program may have one or two goals. It might have many goals. An objective is underneath a goal. It's a thing you're trying to specifically accomplish within your goal. Program goals are worded as outcome statements. You'll want to use words like improve, increase, decrease, rather than using words like make, help, or show. Make, help, and show indicate strategies, how you're going to begin to tackle your goal. But the goal itself is an outcome to improve something, to increase something, or decrease something. Goals should always reflect a shared understanding of stakeholders as to what the program's supposed to achieve. The questions you should ask yourself here as you're documenting program goals are, what does the program intend to accomplish? How would you know if it worked? If the program were a success, what would have happened? What would have changed because of the program? Those are the program goals. Those are the things that you're trying to accomplish with your goal, with your program. So some examples of goal statements. If you want to change behaviors of a community or community members, your goals might be to improve community self-monitoring, increase community involvement, improve civic leadership. If you want to change attitudes of community members, you might improve attitudes toward community, decrease atomization within the community, increase feelings of community ownership. So notice how these are very broad, big outcome statements, where a program strategy within one of these goals, so you want to increase community involvement. Maybe a strategy would be that you offer town hall meetings, opportunities for individuals to be involved, right? So notice the difference here between our broad goals, and what's next is we'll document the strategies. Our program strategies are our activities that we put in place to accomplish our goals. Services, materials, training, resources, activities, whatever it is that we plan to implement toward reaching our goals. We want to be sure that if we're embedding evaluation into an existing program, we want to know what the program does. Document the strategies of the program that were put in place to accomplish the program's goals. Are you working with a new program, or whether you're working with a new program or an existing program, you want to, the process of understanding the program is the same. You want to know what those goals are and what those strategies are, whether you're documenting them for the first time because this is a brand new program, or if you're going back and collecting that information to try to understand an existing program. As you come up with or document your goals and your strategies, you'll start to understand and learn and be able to document as well contextual conditions and contextual influences. So contextual condition is a resource, a facility, an infrastructure that you need in order for the program to be successful. Not part of the program itself, but what do you need? So if you're going to offer more town hall meetings, you're going to need a space for those town halls to exist. So that's a contextual condition. What infrastructure or resource do you need in order to implement the strategies that you have that you've designed or documented? That's different from a contextual influence, which is a factor in the environment that might affect your program's success or the way the program operates. This context can be examined using a PEST analysis. PEST stands for political, economic, social, and technological influences. So you'll start to, as you document your goals and also your strategies for helping to reach those goals, you'll start to understand more about the context in which you will be operating. So what conditions are there? What do you need to exist in your context? And then also what influences are there? What's out there that might affect the success of your program? So once you've got goals and you've got strategies, or really sort of as you're developing the strategies that go with your goals, you will be thinking about and documenting program theory. So program theory is the theory about why the program should work. It's your underlying assumptions that explain links between the program strategies and the program goals. Why are these the strategies we're putting in place if these are our goals, right? Why do I think that these strategies are going to help accomplish our goals? That's your program theory. You want to be sure that you're examining those linkages and that the strategies that you're employing or planning to implement are not sort of random, but that they are ones that theoretically should make an impact toward your goal. So again, our program theory is focused on our program goals. It gives us the assumptions for why the program should work. Why do we expect the strategies that we've outlined to cause changes or to help us to reach our goal? The purpose of the program theory is to link what the program does, the strategies, to its long-term goals. There are a couple different types of theories. There's a theory of change, which generally represents how strategies relate to goals. So a theory of change is a theory that describes how change occurs. It can be a narrative or it can be a picture, but it's a representation of how the strategies relate to the goal. How are these strategies going to create change? Theory of action, on the other hand, is similar, but it does have an important distinction. It's not just about how the strategies create the change, but it's about, but it actually describes how a program is delivered. It's a theory of action. It's the operationalization of the theory of change. So we expect, the theory of change says we expect these strategies to make a difference toward our goal because of XYZ. And the theory of action says we expect these strategies to make a difference toward our goal as we do this, that, and the other, right? So it's an operationalization of the theory of change. It describes the process through which change occurs, explains the means through which the strategies are implemented, and focuses on the services provided to reach our intended outcomes. So very similar, and sometimes these two are used interchangeably, theory of change and theory of action, but they are distinct in the type of theory that we're looking at. And finally, just a reminder that as you are linking your strategies to your goals, you'll want to be constantly asking yourself questions about the basis of your program's theory. Consider alternative theories. Don't tunnel vision yourself or pigeonhole yourself into a particular theory, especially if it just happens to be a really popular theory, right? You can think about more innovative ways to tie certain strategies or more innovative strategies that may be tied to your goals. But it's important to understand the basis of a program's theory in order to design a rigorous evaluation. Make sure that you're asking yourself, is this theoretically, before I even start doing anything, theoretically, does it make sense to expect these strategies to lead to the desired outcomes that I want? It's key as a foundational step prior to anything else that we do in evaluation.